doing this in English.
Yes, I am as ready as I can be.
That's as good as we can expect.
Yes.
I've prepared some questions and a small intro, and if I say something wrong, you have to correct me, of course.
Okay.
Welcome to Let's Draw About It, a podcast where we remove the two most important tools of drawing, the eyes and the hands. I'm curious to see how it affects the way we think about drawing by putting some limitations on ourselves. Today, we are happy to have Anne Helga Henning as a guest on the podcast. Anne Helga is a visual artist that has focused a lot of her time on investigating drawing and how we perceive the world. She has a master in fine arts from NTNU in Trondheim and a bachelor in art history. And in addition, she also has training as an atelierista from the Reggio Emilia Institute in Stockholm, where art is combined with the pedagogical principles and methods. She has done numerous works with exhibitions as an independent artist and several public and private commissions for many, many years. She is also an associate professor that teaches drawing in the Master of Architecture at NTNU in Trondheim. Anne Helga, did you become an artist or have you always been one?
Oh, that's a good question. No, I think I became an artist. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
We had a lecture earlier today and you talked about it as if this was something that was in you from the start.
Yeah, it was in me from the start, but I had to make a conscious choice to take that step and go into that education and become a visual artist through my education at Kunstakademiet, the art academy in Trondheim. Yeah.
Do you remember when and how you came to that conclusion? I want to be a professional artist.
Well, at first I thought I wanted to be a journalist.
Really?
Yes, and then I went to study at this philosophical forberedende, what's it called?
Preparatory
studies, yeah, with a lot of philosophy and logic and all this, and then I found out I wanted not to study like that. I wanted to make things. I thought that I wanted to become a graphic designer. So I was lucky and got into a school that educated in drawing and also this kind of more engineering drawing, like construction drawing it was called, and learning about form and all this basic stuff. During that year, it was only 1 year, and during that year I found out that I was more interested in the artistic research than graphic design. And so I applied for this preparatory school for 2 years at Stavanger, and I got in there, and then it was clear to me that this was what I wanted.
And then you started fine arts.
And yeah. In a way, it's always been a part of me, but I had to choose it. That's what I would say. But I've been drawing, and I've been using my eyes and been very sensitive to atmospheres and things that I see ever since I was a child.
You mentioned sometime that you have these inner images that you sort of need to get out there.
That's true.
Have you always had these?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's very inspiring, I would say.
I think a lot of people lack you could call it an ability or a skill, I don't know. Do you have any tips how to sort of get the inner visual soul out?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yes, and it's very concrete. It's like when I'm walking, because I walk every day, long walks, and then it's like it's just coming to me while I walk. I'm in this kind of meditative state, I would say. I'm looking at things when I'm walking, and then I'm sort of digesting kind of many impressions, and very often it comes to me, these kind of images when I'm walking or when I'm waking up in the morning. Those two things.
Are these moments where you are alone, and it seems also transitional? You move through a situation, or you wake up from sleeping to
Yes.
awaken.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's when we, or you in this case, is so attuned into these visual ideas?
Well, I think you said the main point. It's a kind of transition. It's you're doing something without doing anything, and you are alone. I am alone. So I'm actually waking up. I'm getting up, but I'm not quite on my go. Or I'm walking from one spot to another, and I'm on a sort of activity that is also very meditative, I would say. So those two, they are my main source of inspiration, actually.
Nice. I mention Stefan Sagmeister quite often. He's a designer that has this every 7 years he does this sabbatical where he closes the shop and does something else. And he has formulated rules about creative work, his creative work. And he says one of the points is traveling in itself is helpful for my creative process. And I found that so true.
Oh, yes, of course. Traveling is the same. Whenever you travel and you're on the go and you don't need to. Yeah, sometimes even when I drive the car, I can have that sense or this images pops up. It's also this kind of transition, and this kind of meditative state. But I have tried meditation several times, but it never takes me there.
Really?
No.
Do you? Sometimes I think meditation and drawing is similar. Do you
I
do you
do
see
too.
the same?
Yes.
Is drawing your meditation?
It can be, and it might not be.
How can it not be?
Because if I need to really, I want the drawing to go somewhere, I need to be a little bit ahead and a little bit behind, and I need to plan. And then I'm not in this state. But when I'm sketching or when I'm doing this observational drawing, I would say I really easily get into it as a meditation, yeah.
Nice.
And it's very pleasant, and it's like being calm and being active at the same time.
And when you manifest these inner images, do they match in reality what you imagine?
That's also very funny because I've been thinking about it, and I've been trying to force in my walks, for example. I've been trying to force my mind to really, really remember this image. When I try to remember it, it's like I can remember some parts of it, but I can't really get the whole picture because the whole picture in my mind is not really there. It's very strange. It's like, okay, my brain is not like a screen that I can look to. It's not like this TV screen or whatever that I can look at the picture, but it's more like more diffuse. And then it's like, okay, I want this man to sit on this blanket and he's going to smoke, and the smoke is going to go up and it's going to be very calm. And then the other part behind him is going to be stormy, but I can't see all of it. So I tried to force myself to really see the whole drawing in my mind, but I have to work on it. And then it kind of gets into another state, and the image from my mind is still there, but it's also going in another direction, or it's becoming something else. But not like something I don't want. It's like we are starting to have a conversation, me and the drawing. Where do you want to go? So yeah.
I think I've felt the same sometimes.
Yeah.
Where the drawing starts to have its own life and
Exactly.
and what you say, you have to be a bit plan a bit ahead and be a bit behind.
Yeah.
It's a very, very precise way of talking about drawing processes.
And also it's a bit like, if you try to remember your dreams, which I have been working a lot with, and the images in your dreams, they are also of the same kind, that they don't, like this inner pop-ups of images. The images of the dreams are also kind of hard to grasp. They are clear, but they're not clear in the same way.
And when you wake up, they are really fleeting and quick to disappear.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You teach a lot. You teach in university students, but you've also done a lot of educational work in public with children, with old people. How does your focus on education affect your work and vice versa? Is there any development in between these two?
I would absolutely say that it is. It's for me. It's I'm a kind of person that needs to. As the same with my drawings, I try to explore the world through my drawings, but I need some material to go from with this, and I think working with people and getting in different kind of conversation, seeing different kinds of living the human life and different kind of being curious at different stages in the life. I find it very fascinating. To me, it's always been a great source of inspiration, and also the feeling that I can connect to the human life on a broader basis. So that when I do my drawings, and they very often have humans in them, not lately, but they have been. There has been a lot of humans in my drawings. I think I can have material to pick from to put into these drawings through my meeting with other people.
I know just parts of your whole work because you of course you've done this for many decades now. I know you have had a project where you have people and their dogs, and you draw portraits of the dogs.
Yes, yes.
Could you explain a bit of this project and how that has
Yeah,
developed?
it was inspired by my work at NTNU, the architects studies, because we did all this teaching of observational drawings and sketching. And I was very hooked on observational drawing. I was really hooked on that, and I enjoyed it a lot. And then there was this period we had with the COVID lockdown. Everybody got a dog
Yeah, of course.
because they couldn't be with people, so they got a dog to hug.
Yeah.
and then it was a project called Project 2021, and it was about Trondheim as a city and the lockdown. Me and my husband Paul, we applied for doing this, making portraits of dogs and their owners. We put up this list of people that wanted to apply for sitting for us with their dogs, and they put down their name and the dog's name, and they had like 15 minutes. They came at this park, and it was like a fast shift from one group of people and dogs and to the next, and there was like, okay, sit down, 15 minutes, and we'll draw you. And Paul was sitting there, he was drawing in his way, and I was sitting here and I was drawing in my way, and we had like, okay, we're finished. And then we showed these two different drawings, so the dogs and their owners to them. And also, of course, the dogs were sniffing a little bit on the drawings. And it was like, yeah.
Nice. Who were the best models, the dogs or the people?
Always the dogs.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah, they're more. It's hard to not like the dogs, I guess. The people you could sort of get annoyed at,
Yeah.
not the dogs.
No, but what was very fascinating was that the dogs in this project, we were drawing I think we were drawing 40 portraits. I mean, 40 times 2 means so many people and dogs that came by, and it was really hectic. And every single time the dog, because we had this little bench that they could sit on, so they were up from the ground, and every single dog, and there could even be 2 of them, they were sitting there still for 15 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, like they knew that something was going on.
Yeah. Wow.
Very fascinating.
Amazing. Have you done anything with the drawings? Has it been an exhibition?
Yes. It's been a pop-up exhibition at the Gallery Babel. And then it was hanging there for 1 weekend. And on Sunday, those of the people that were drawn, they could come and get their drawings.
Okay,
So we gave them away for free after documenting them.
Amazing.
Yes.
Is it anywhere we can see them? Us listeners?
Yeah, no, I'm
No?
sorry, not yet,
Oh,
but we will try. And also, the coming fall, we will do it in Klæbu, not so far away from Trondheim Centrum. We will do the same. We were invited to do this again.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So
so you can bring your dog.
All the listeners in Klæbu should make note of this.
Yes.
Keep an eye on ads for dog portraits.
Yeah.
Paul, your life partner, your husband, he is also an artist, as you say, and you've done these projects together. How important is drawing in your everyday life?
I think it's like I was thinking about when I was preparing for this lecture. I was thinking about this feeling that I get if this pleasure of drawing, and also this longing for this pleasure. If I haven't been drawing for some days, I'm starting to really feel like a longing for drawing and this urge to draw. So it's really implemented in me, I would say. I don't feel, it might sound a bit strange, but I don't feel quite as myself if I haven't been drawing for, let's say it goes a whole week without drawing. I feel kind of strange, kind of lost. I don't know.
It sounds like a very benevolent addiction. A good
Maybe, yeah. But it's like, I think it's a way of, I'm also using my eyes a lot. I'm always like looking around, and I'm like curious to see like different scenes everywhere. And it's like, if I can't manifest some of it on a paper by drawing, it's like, feels like it's getting lost, that I'm not really, that I'm getting kind of, in a way, a little bit numb. Because I can't, digest all these inner pictures or observations that I have. That's how it works.
Nice. We have a helicopter passing over, so
yeah, I saw it.
it's from the hospital, and they pass by here every day.
Yeah,
couple
I know.
of times a day.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's picked up by the microphones, but when you have had a couple of days without drawing, what is your favorite tool and your favorite medium? What is your go-to tool and medium?
Yeah, it's always a smaller size. I start out with small sizes. And then it is like also this kind of, do I want to make a watercolor? Do I want to go with markers? Do I want to go with a pencil? It depends on what I want at the moment. So like recently when I've been doing all these charcoal drawings and working a lot with charcoal, it was very, very satisfying to go and sit down with a fine liner and make a sketch with that.
Yeah, so it's a bit like food, I guess. You have appetite for something, and if you eat a lot of lobster, you get sick of it.
Yeah, that's it.
Are there any situation where you actively avoid drawing? A drawing-free zone, so to speak?
I can't think of it, but I guess there would be situations where I would feel that it was unethical to draw.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it would feel wrong to add the activity of drawing, or to draw someone. What kind of a situation could that be?
I was thinking about when I was working with this project with the elderly with dementia. If I was suddenly to sit down and draw them without having permission or a clear project with it, I think it would be... I wouldn't feel so comfortable with that.
What in that relationship between a model that is unaware or unable to be aware of your drawing and you, what in this relationship makes it unethical or difficult?
Yeah, because I think some people are vulnerable, and I'm very sensitive to that.
Yeah.
I guess that's why.
Yeah.
So if I was going to draw also children that I don't know, or different kind of situations, with more vulnerable things or persons involved, I wouldn't do it unless I really had a plan with it or permission to do it. I would say.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting aspect of drawing I haven't been in touch with before. I haven't thought of it that way, but I guess it's a bit like taking pictures of someone or going into their private space without asking, being insensitive.
Otherwise, I'm happy to draw people.
Yeah. I guess it also depends on the relationship.
Yeah.
So if you have a good relationship and you can actually have some kind of mutual benefit of the drawing situation.
And I can draw people at a square, a bar, at a concert, somewhere where people gather and mingle and have fun, or it's
Without
a busy
asking.
street, or sure.
Yeah. Huh.
Airports, wherever.
Interesting how subtle differences affect the way you
Yeah.
perceive the act of drawing.
Yeah.
As intimate, or in some situations it's a relationship between you and the drawing, and sometimes it's actually a third party involved in that.
Yes.
Drawing has been a very large part of your life for many years. Are there any parts of drawing that annoys you?
Yeah, I'm a very restless person, so I've gotten used to it. That I have this. I'm drawing, and then I am walking around in my studio, like spinning around, and then I'm sitting down again. I'm drawing something, on my drawings again, and then I have to get up and get a glass of water and do some walking. And it's if you could see me in my studio, you would think that I was totally no, not totally, but I'm a very I need to get some steam off because drawing is very, you need to be concentrated. Even though if I'm often drawing on a wall. With my bigger drawings, I'm putting the paper on the wall and I'm drawing, standing against the wall. And I have to go down and on my knees, and then I have to get up on a chair maybe to draw. I am annoyed all the time when I'm drawing. But then I know that something will happen. It will solve itself, or it will be trash. So I'm having all these thresholds all the time. And where I have this feeling of doubt, or I'm feeling insecure, about what I'm doing, or I'm feeling restless, feeling a need to leave the space and do something else. But it's all just because there are these thresholds that I know they are there. I've learned that it's just this thing now. So it will pass, and then I can, like, in 10 minutes, I can concentrate again.
So it's the search for the next threshold, or the search for the next question that drives you?
Yeah, it's like I can't tell. It's like this need for concentration, to be totally focused. And what happens after a while is that after I've had all this restlessness, and maybe 10 times I've raised from my chair or gone away from the wall that I'm drawing at, and I'm pacing around in my studio, and after maybe 2 hours, I can get into this flow. And then it's like I can be there for 3 more hours without problem. And if I have a period when I work where I work quite a lot, it's easier and easier to get past these thresholds. But I think it's important to be aware of them, and to understand that this is not a problem. It's just the way that we maybe process things. And I saw this documentary with William Kentridge, this South African drawer or artist, and he is making these charcoal drawings, right? He was saying the same thing, that he needed to walk a lot in his studio.
Wow.
And I thought, yes, I can recognize that.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
What would you do if you couldn't draw, if drawing wasn't an option?
This is why I'm so scared of falling on the ice and breaking my left wrist or something like that.
Because you're left-handed.
Yes.
Well, then you draw with your right hand.
Yeah, I had to learn that. Or if my eyes get really sick or something like that.
What would happen? What would you do instead, or what would be an alternative that would soothe the
Good question.
addiction?
I don't know. Maybe I'll start farming or making... I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. If I couldn't do it, if I was... Okay, let's say if I was going blind, maybe I would start making music.
Or if it was illegal.
Yeah, if it was illegal. Could I write?
Yeah, would it be the same? Is drawing in itself something particular, or is it a process that can be replicated in other artistic?
Yeah, that's also very interesting, I would say. So I do write a little bit, but I like to write poetic texts. But yeah, I think you can use other kind of aesthetic expressions. Wouldn't be too wrong. Other than that, I think I would cook a lot and grow things.
live life.
Yeah.
How would this lack of drawing tools affect the way we educate the next generation of professionals in architecture, in art, and these things?
Lack of drawing?
Yeah, if we couldn't draw, what would we do to
Oh my God.
architect students and other people that need drawing now?
Wow. It would be a total disaster, I would say. Absolutely. Because to me, this is like the way of really understanding the world. You do it through looking and through drawing, and drawing and looking is kind of like the same thing. And that cannot be replaced with words. So what do you do then?
Could we dance architecture or sing?
Yeah,
fine art?
maybe you can use your body to as a drawing tool. We already did that.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
No.
Yeah, we did it. We had this exercise at the intro week this year.
For the first year students in architecture.
Yeah. And they were making this. Okay, they had to make a small drawing of some feelings. I think it was. It was an absurd. Two words put together, like making an absurd connection. And then they made a very simple line drawing out of that. And then we went down to this place in front of KUK.
The art museum in the city center.
Yeah. And they made a physical manifestation of it by walking the drawing.
Oh.
Yes. And then you really got this sense of how movement and body also is a part of drawing architecture. So that was quite interesting, I'd say.
It sounds like you could figure out good ways to not have drawing.
And then you have this artist, what is his name? The one that walks. He's making drawings walking.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank here.
But anyway, this artist was doing this as his art project. So he was making kind of drawings while walking.
Did he draw on paper that he brought with him, or did he draw?
No, he was walking paths, and these paths were visual after a while. That's something you could do. You could walk a drawing.
Absolutely. I've suggested this to some of the students that are unsure what to do with one of the assignments, which is very free, which is just to make any kind of drawing related expression. And they ask, what is this? Is it a drawing? And well, it can be, but it could also be something that's related to time. It could be how you move. It could be social. It could be a workshop. Maybe we have to figure out the name of this artist.
But I will try to figure it out, and I will tell you. But I also remember Paul Auster in his book New York Trilogy. There is a main person in this novel, and he walks in Manhattan, and he walks in certain patterns. So it's also like when you read the novel, you can kind of grasp the patterns he is walking, and it becomes a drawing. And it's one of the main things with this novel is his walking these patterns as a drawing, I would say.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Now we have a sort of a shift in tempo. This is what they call.
I think it's called Richard Long.
Richard Long is the walking artist.
Yeah, at least Long.
At least Long. Okay,
yeah.
So
Richard Long.
Let's hope that some search engine can help us.
Yeah.
A guy named Long. That's an artist that walks.
Yeah.
Now it's a bit of a shift of tempo. I have something for you that's called a shotgun round, where I pose two different similarities, and you have to choose one of them.
Okay, good.
Sketch or masterpiece?
Sketch.
Why so quick on this?
I really like. I have this hang up on being in the becoming. I like to be where things are on their way.
Not in their completed state.
Right, because I feel the energy and the dynamics of being on the go, or where things are not perfect, but they are really moving somewhere, and you can sense that there is a kind of trying out, there's a kind of moving towards something. I find it absolutely fascinating. Of course, there are very many good masterpieces. Of course, there are, but I always also have enjoyed these great artists' sketchbooks and sketches, because I think they have this energy and the testing out very up in your eyes, which I like a lot. I'm not a perfectionist.
I see.
Yeah,
Analog or digital?
I have to say analog.
Yeah. Is it because of your relationship with the analog techniques? What is better with analog or worse with digital?
It's in the process to make a drawing that is physical. You have these materials that you draw with that are actual materials, and they have this resistance, or they have this fascination about what they do, that you only can kind of control with your hand and your experience. But then I do use a lot of digital drawing as well on my way. So I test out things digital. So I switch back and forth in my work before I make this final analog drawing. I do take in a lot of digital drawing as well on my iPad.
2D or 3D?
I have to say 3D.
Really?
I should have said 2D, but I think I say 3D because I'm very fascinated with the fact that you can make an illusion or work towards three-dimensionality on a two-dimensional plane. I think that is so fascinating. And I think I really like it whenever I try to shape something looking as three-dimensional on a two-dimensional sheet of paper. And I also enjoy it a lot when the students try to do the same thing.
Grayscale or color?
Grayscale, yeah, definitely.
You talked about in the lecture that you were a bit timid towards color.
Yes.
Could you say something about that?
It's weird because I feel colors are so overwhelming. And also I think that I'm very interested in what I just said, that I'm interested in making space in my drawings, making form and making this really three-dimensionality. And then it's easier to do that with grayscale or a monochrome drawing maybe than with all these colors. So I think maybe that's why.
Wet or dry?
I can't say both.
Well, you can. And then I will ask, how come? Why is that hard to decide?
Because for me, there is no difference. When I draw, I can draw with aquarelle or watercolor, and I can draw with ink, and I can also do the same with this dry drawing tools like charcoal or pencil, or for me they are the same. I would say.
Oh, thank you. That was the shotgun round. So.
Yeah.
What is the first drawing you remember making in your life?
I think it's a drawing of a fox.
Yeah. And how old were you at the time?
I don't know. It was only I used the red color, and it is very. It's a very fussy fox with a lot of red in it, and many legs. I think it had like 6 legs.
Do you remember why you drew a fox, and why is that memory so clear?
No, I can't remember. But I was always very fascinated with what's going on in the forest and the animals in the forest.
So it's back to the observing of the world and trying to understand it.
Yeah, and the fur was very important. The fur is very tactile, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Also for the eye.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah.
Especially if you draw,
Yeah.
you know that fur is tactile for the eye.
Yeah.
What is the most recent drawing you made?
Oh, the most recent drawing. Did I make one? Let me think. Yeah, the most recent drawing I made at my house out by the coast last Sunday. And it was of course, my husband sitting by the table, eating potato chips and solving this crossword. And on the table, there was a lot of mess. So it was like very many objects, like books and bowls with fruit and computers and candles and whatnot. A lot of mess. And he was just in the back of that, and there was this window with all these small figurines in it. Also, this very beautiful table that has the way it is constructed. I kind of got that down, all in fine line. So it was a lot of lines and a lot of observations in it, and I really enjoyed it, making it.
Well, you really gave me this vivid image in my mind. So now I think you've tapped my mind into the start of this talk where you talk about these inner images. I do have them, but this was a very clear one. So thank you for that. What will be the next drawing you make?
Yeah, I'm going to work towards this exhibition in October at the Trondheim Kunstforening. So far, I have made plans to make the buildings, the walls in this building, because it is this very old brick building. It's from it was built in 1820, I think. And I have had this idea that I want the walls to kind of melt and tell maybe layers of story that is kind of hidden. And for this, I want to make very transparent drawings.
So the paper would be transparent, or the...
No, the lines and but it will still be charcoal. But I will make it also many lines, but kind of see-through transparency, so that it's kind of ghost-like, and I will touch upon different kind of stories and different kind of impressions from that building, but nothing will be in your face, so you have to kind of guess what you're looking at. It will maybe be a little bit like a ghost drawing.
This has been a really interesting talk, and I hope the same goes to the listeners out there. For me, the most clear part is when you talk about time and this idea of being both in front and behind the drawing. I think I can see why that is important for you. Really thought-provoking ideas that you bring forward. What would be your number one advice for someone that's studying drawing?
I think my advice would be always remember that drawing is an abstraction of something from reality or something from your mind, and that it's you cannot ever get it really perfect. So you have to work on that abstraction in a way so that whatever you want to be enhanced or expressed through that comes forward. So that when you work on it, that you are aware that what do you want with this drawing? Remember, it's an abstraction. How can you bring forth what is important for you in this drawing? And then you have to take some rests and walk away from your drawing and walk away and go for a walk and then come back and bring to your mind, does this really tell what I want it to tell? Does this have in it what I want it to have in it? And is the abstraction good? Is it expressed in a way that tells what I want to tell? And I think you can often exaggerate more than you think you can, or you can be more subtle than you think you must be. So it's like a puzzle, I would say. It's like the start is always harder than after some work, then where you start to see how this puzzle is kind of getting together. Nice. So, yeah.
A big thanks to Anne Helga for coming here to share some pieces of her drawing life. It's been really inspiring. I'm also happy to know that I can follow Anne Helga's work and infectious curiosity about drawing going forwards. And as usual, the only thing we can do now is to go on and talk about it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Tack.